it's going.
It's kind of weird when I touch the... Nice. What's up, everybody? This
Good
is
day.
two-week show.
It is a good day. It's always a great day, but...
2 handicapper week. Let me get all my shit situated. What's up, everybody? After game 1,
Recovered from
lost
that debacle.
all my money on the Mavs.
Who hit a
And
prop?
so did 88% of the public.
How many props hit last night? 4?
Our parlay
5?
with prop holiday.
How many props hit?
Was that 0 for 4? I think that prop holiday
it went
was
0 for 4.
0 for 4. Really good
Kyrie
start
might have
to
hit it
the
on the
NBA
shots alone,
Finals.
attempted.
Can't wait till the Stanley Cup final starts because maybe I can do better in game 1 there. It is the Oilers at plus 110 on the series. I'm going to keep preaching that.
Come on, Connor.
Face of the league. We do have another capper with us. It has been since November of 2021 the last time this gentleman was here. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Ahaan is back on the program. What's up, baby?
What's up,
Thanks
big
for
dog?
doing this, man. We really appreciate your time, and thanks for coming back and doing this with us, man. How's it going?
You're gonna open the show lying, saying the myth, the legend. I'm neither a myth nor a legend. I'm way too active on Twitter, and I'm not a legend. But great to be on again. It's been a few years. I can't even keep track of like how many things have changed since the last time we talked. Like the way I bet has changed a little bit. What I'm doing, online has changed a little bit. But you guys look the same. You guys have the same energy. So happy to be back on.
Hell yeah, man. Let's just start there. Like, it's been so long, and I think the craziest part about all that is it hasn't felt like almost 3 years that it was the last time we actually spoke to you in a setting like this. So, like, take us through, man. We were going through some of your stuff. Talk about, like, the new things you've been getting into. This was, again, I had just graduated a couple months prior to that podcast. I mean, we've now been, over 3 years doing this. So so many things have changed. What's up, man? Like, talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been having a great time, contributing for Parlay Science right now. The Discord, that's my primary commitment right now. A lot of great people doing great things there. And during the last couple of years, just kind of picking up like some other, sports in general, just getting my feet wet a little bit in the WNBA this year.
Yes,
with all the hype surrounding the WNBA. Like, I'm one of those that used to watch, like, casually, like, a few years ago, back when no one cared.
100%.
And so I'm like, if I'm not betting on WNBA, if I don't know how to read this market, then, I'm missing out. So I started studying a little bit, and last week I started betting on it. Slightly profitable so far, so good start there.
Do you have a team, Ahaan?
I've been a Seattle Storm.
Yes, yeah! Come on!
We literally we did a podcast like last week.
Go. Jewel Lloyd Appreciators right here, baby.
Yeah. Can you say the comparison? We said at the prop, but tell him the comparison.
It's giving a little Jalen Brunson, Ahaan.
And I'm a Knicks guy, so I loved hearing that. I loved it. We went back, we watched the tape, we saw it. Looks good. But yeah, we did a podcast like last week, and we had like 4 teams that we were trying to pick one to ride all season and bet props and bet money lines and spreads and all that. And we were like, it's got to be the Storm. So that is hilarious that you said that. It's been a good start. They had plus
Man has great taste.
I know.
Man has great. He's a Red Sox fan, but it's all right.
Yeah, at least there. But at least like, how was your football season with bets and all that kind of stuff? I seen like you did some. I guess collabs with the Book It crew and all that, so that was kind of cool to see your name floating around. Those big names out there too.
Yeah, the Book It crew is great. I mean, the face of the Book It crew is obviously Trent, but everybody who works with Book It crew, just great people.
Facts.
And yeah, just happy to do stuff with them. But obviously, still working with Player Profiler as well, the football company, doing some content for them. We kind of went off with betting in the playoffs. I like to call myself Playoff Ahaan.
Why?
Nobody else calls me that.
Now we got you.
Yeah, we'll start that.
They should, because I've made a habit out of like getting killed in every sport in the last like 2 weeks of the regular season, and then making it all back in some more in the playoffs. So I'm excited that we're about to talk about the NBA Finals, because this is a series that I'm looking forward to, not just from a fan perspective, but there's a lot of coin to be made, and game 2 is usually one where I peak, because game 1 we see the BS, and I'm sure you're going to talk about some of the BS. And then game 2 they adjust, and we adjust before the books do, right? So I'm excited.
Well, you kind of open it up right there, and I love the tweet that you had posted not too long ago about the threes. This was an hour ago.
God,
I mean, the Mavericks from 3 in game 1. We were literally just talking about that. We were all over Kyrie last night.
All over.
So when you drop that stat, I mean, watching it, you could start counting on your fingers how many times he was missing wide open looks. But 0 for 3. And I actually repopped him at halftime at 17.5, which I thought was a great line at halftime. And at some point, we got to get going, right?
Absolutely.
And finished with 12. Obviously, the thing that confused me the most is Dallas pulled their starters, and we still have, like, Tatum in there balling. For no reason, we're up $1 billion. Like, I thought it would be the other way around, and then I took plus 15.5, and I thought it would be the other way around instead of Dallas pulling the starters.
Wait, when did you take plus 15.5? Later?
Like, later on in the
Because Dallas
game.
made that run in the second quarter, because I don't know when you popped Kyrie, but in the second quarter, Kyrie kind of got aggressive, and it looked decent for a second. Dallas makes that comeback from like a minute left in the second quarter into the third quarter. They cut it to 8, and then it goes haywire from there. Kyrie got like 21 shots up still. And if I didn't get to look back too deep, but the matchups every time when I'm watching the game is like, yo, get Kyrie the rock right here. I'm seeing Sam Hauser sometimes. Like I like the Derek White. Derek White's a great defender. I love the Derek White matchup. Like I mean, we're talking about a guy who gave Klay Thompson 40 multiple times in the fucking final series. Even the tough shot he hit to early in the game when he had 2 people on him. Like I feel like it's just such a Kyrie situation. Gave us 20 shots last night, and like I just felt like the whole time it could have hit, and he couldn't. Kyrie, bro. One thing I want to know what you think about this, Ahaan. I feel like to start the game, and I feel like J. Kidd kind of coached it like it's a first, second round game, maybe regular season game. You're playing the Boston Celtics in TD game 1. I think we need to be letting our starters just almost die on the court, especially the way we're underdogs. I don't know how you thought about the rotations, but I didn't love it early on.
I'm going to get this out of the way first. So I'm going to say that, one, I don't let my, bets, whether they win or they lose, affect my judgment of, how I think the game should have gone, how I think a team should have coached. I'm not one of those gamblers that's like, oh, my bet didn't hit, so this was wrong. I'll just adjust game 2. I will say this. Jaden Hardy, 23-year-old I think he's 23, 23-year-old, 6'3" point guard who has never been a good defender, never been a good finisher at the rim, getting 5 first quarter minutes. I knew it was over then. I mean,
Oh my.
Jaden Hardy, all respect to him, he's a talented scorer, but he cannot get a serious role in this series. You saw it with Peyton Pritchard, and a lot of sharp people on Twitter I saw were on Peyton Pritchard's under. I was as well on a parlay, but Peyton Pritchard, fading Peyton Pritchard in that game was an example of you play to the matchup and you use your brain and you say, well, Dallas has a lot of size. We can't play Peyton Pritchard because he's going to get eaten alive on defense. You cannot let Jaden Hardy have a huge role in the first half. And that wasn't even, one of my top 3 issues with Jason Kidd last night. And, I think the biggest issue was Jason Tatum. We've seen all these playoffs be an elite playmaker, a great defender. But what has he struggled at? He's struggled at scoring one-on-one. And people got mad when I tweeted a few weeks ago that Jason Tatum has taken a step back as a scorer this year. That's just a fact. If you look at the stats, if you look at him, he used to go off and go take Giannis one-on-one. He used to take some of the best defenders in the league one-on-one. That has not happened all year long. He's relied on his all-star teammates to bail him out. That's just a fact. I don't care if you're a Celtics fan or whatnot. Yesterday, Jason Kidd opened up that game like he was facing 2013 LeBron James. He was sending help every single time that he drove. He was blitzing him on the fast break, even if that meant leaving Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White, etc., wide open. How have you watched the Celtics this year and your takeaway is let the other people wide open and don't let Jason Tatum drive? How is that your takeaway? That game was over before it started. So that's the adjustment I want to see from Jason Kidd. Stop blitzing Jason Tatum because he's not going to beat you single-handedly.
Well, you mentioned the Kristaps Porzingis name after.
What about that?
We were talking with Prop Holiday. He was telling us that he was walking around in flip-flops at the Pacers series because they didn't need him on the floor. And then first game back,
30 days, 30 plus days.
That? I didn't see that, and you had your cash on the threes that last night with Kristaps. Did you see something like that coming?
Is there an adjustment we have to make? You can't keep switching and leaving Josh Green on him. You know what I mean? Jaden Hardy even on some switches on him. It's gonna be too easy all series.
Outside of like the play that you had with Kristaps threes, did you see something like that coming out of him, or that was just more of he's back, 2 threes, he can shoot if he's open, that kind of thing?
I mean, I think we're going to see multiple games for Kristaps where he doesn't go 150% from the field or whatever he was in the first half. He's going to regress. I mean, I think like yesterday on both sides there was a lot of emotion. I mean, Kristaps, he saw the first couple of shots go in, and after that, like it was like a momentum thing. Like everything was going in. And on the other side, like Kyrie, once he got blocked once, and then he missed an open three, and after that, for him it was an emotional thing, and it kind of showed you like glimpses of why Kyrie's never been a 1A and has always been like a 1B or a beta, is because like he let the emotion get to him. Like, I mean, I'm a Kyrie fan. Like, I mean, everybody's a Kyrie fan, like of his game. But I mean, you can see why he has been a beta for much of his career, because like he was trying to take over and he was missing the open looks, and it kind of got to him emotionally a little bit, I think. So I think both of those we see like regression to the mean this series. Kyrie's not going to miss all those wide open looks, all series long. And Kristaps is not going to make all of them. And one of them is just Josh Green. You mentioned Josh Green. Jason Tatum went 0 for 5 last night when guarded by Josh Green.
Wow.
Josh Green should get more run as the primary defender on Jason Tatum, and not, letting Jaden Hardy play. Jason Kidd's had these games where he staggered his guards and had Luka or Kyrie on the floor at all times, but staggered those minutes. You can live with not playing Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jaden Hardy at all in this series. It's possible. We've seen those lineups work for the Mavs, and I'm not sure why we didn't see that last night. But yeah, that's what I think. Josh Green should get run, but as the primary defender on Jason Tatum, and Jaden Hardy should be